All right, round two. I just tried recording the podcast. This is my second attempt. The first time I started and I started saying stuff, and then immediately my brain was like, What are you doing? Why are you doing this? Who wants to listen to this?" Which, fair question, brain. But that's why I'm doing this, is because as soon as I start talking on the podcast, there will be times where I can actually get past the self-consciousness, but usually I will cycle in and out between like, what are you doing? Like being like, oh, I'm actually have something to say. And then listening to me talking, being like, what the hell are you? Why, who do you think you are? Who do you think you are that anyone would want to listen to this? So that's what's going on. So this is my internal monologue. I'm trying to, as a comedian in this day and age, you got to create content. You got to create a lot of content. You got to do it. And so I'm trying to do that, and actually trying to see if a format like this, a podcast, which also is going on YouTube, can it be art? Like one of my favorite types of books are comic books, are slice of life comic books, where it's just I was just reading this one by Julia Wirtz, which is just her going through recovery and drinking, and I want to see like her experience, and it's just like, here, this is actually what's going on with my life. And so I'm trying to see if this can be that. Can it? Who knows? Because as someone who's trying to, I guess, be in the public eye or whatever, I never really saw myself as like, I'm trying to, try to basically have a career. And 38, I've been doing stand-up comedy for like 15 years. And, like part of my, I think part of what's held me back, obviously, is the alcoholism, which, I'm working on. But I could never really see myself as being successful. I just couldn't see it. And that's been something I've struggled with for kind of everything. I've always had this like desire to be an artistic person, to be working creatively, but I could never see myself as being someone who's successful. And I think a lot of times I've gotten into positions where I could get success. I've gotten into a lot of, like, when I've had momentum in my life, I've completely self-sabotaged, drank at the wrong moment, it's just been a pattern I've repeated throughout my life. This one time, a short I directed got into a film festival at Just for Laughs Northwest, and we won Audience Choice Award, and then I got like blackout drunk that night. And, not a good look. And, destroyed a bit of my reputation there. And then it's just like, you can build your reputation back, but how long does it take to fully recover? See, that right now, just then, I was actually out of my head for a second, talking about alcoholism. And now I'm back in it. Back in thinking too much about what I'm saying. So, anyways, hope someone finds this worthwhile. How about another drinking story? No, I don't want to tell that one yet. I'll if I get more successful, hey, you guys, if this gets fucking enough downloads, which I don't even want to say the number, but I'm gonna think of a number in my head. If this episode gets enough downloads, because I don't want to tell you guys how many people are listening to this, because it's embarrassing. But if it gets a certain number of downloads, then I will tell the story I thought about telling just now. So anyways, yesterday I talked about how I had some videos on social media go semi-viral, and, like 500,000 views, 690,000. And for most of them, just sort of generic, dumb takes where I wasn't really saying anything interesting. I tried to have like a joke there, but, who knows if it was any good. And then, but it was all sort of complaining about baby boomers. And I uploaded one yesterday where I was just, again, talking about how baby boomers are kind of delusional, in that they just don't understand that how the economy is different. And I tried to make it like I tried to put like my own spin on it, give it a take. I talked about how like we're all just competing for attention so we can get, DraftKings, but I uploaded it to trial reels, because that's how I do. I upload all my videos to trials first to see how they do, because I'm a coward and I hate everything I do. And so if I upload it to trials and then it does well, I'll share it to my main feed, because then I'll go like, hey, listen, you guys, because I know how everything works. And it's like, if something gets a lot of views, it's like, well, people now see it's vetted, it's socially proved, right? So even if I think it's stupid, it's like, well, look at how many people watch this, right? Because I'm a coward and a drinker and a fiend. And so I uploaded it to trials, and it's gotten like 8,000 views. It didn't go viral. I don't think it will go viral. I think just something about the first 3 seconds, the hook isn't that great. And it was a relief. It was a relief, because for a second, like everything I had made about baby boomers sucking had done really well. It had done well online. And I was like, do I just have to be the baby boomer guy? Because there is this, I was sort of emulating this one comedian who posted stuff, and he was just the baby boomer guy. And it seems like, I don't know, like he was complaining about baby boomers, and had millennial takes, and again, like it's just kind of stuff that everyone's been saying. It wasn't particularly insightful, but I think there's a lot of like rage against baby boomers right now. Understandable, because they are like, I don't want to get into it now, but it's just, they just don't get it. They don't understand that the last time the economy really functioned was for them. And since then, it's been a downward sprint, a downward spring? What the hell was that word? A downward glide, just a downward ride. It's just gone downhill since then. But they don't understand that it wasn't because they were smarter and harder working. It was because they took a system that was working and then removed all the guardrails from it to make themselves richer, and then everyone who came after more poor. But whatever. But yeah, it's this weird thing with social media now, where it's like, I've watched so many like tutorials on how to get your social media blow up, and they all say like, oh, if you're doing one thing, you got to keep doing that thing. And I've seen my friends have social medias that do blow up, and they get a bunch of views, but they'll be comedians, and then their social media will be something that's not really their comedy, or it's comedy adjacent, and then it's like, yeah, okay, well, now you have 300,000 followers, but does that mean anything? Because people are tuning in for this one specific thing that you're doing, but do they give a fuck about you, like who you are? And are they going to be your fan, or do they just like this one weird, thing that you're doing? And so anyways, this podcast, me doing it every day. I was watching this one video by this guy. Was talking about how to make a successful YouTube channel. He's talking about if like daily uploads sort of develops momentum. And you know what? I feel better today. I feel better today than I did yesterday. And so I do want this to be like uplifting, if it can, inspiring. And if you're watching this or listen to this, please reach out and be like, hey man, I listened. And then that would make me feel so good, because like I see the views, I'm getting views. People are downloading and listening to it, but it feels fake. Like someone listened to in Sweden and the UK. Nah, come on. I feel like Pod being the hosting service is just trying to make me feel good. But yeah, so it is, this is my attempt. And then I think like, consistency, momentum, that's important. These are important things. I should get more consistency and momentum with my day job, because I've been not doing that lately, because I've had a bunch of money come in from other stuff, but I'm still in debt, and I am thinking about buying a video camera with that, because I think who knows? I think buying tech feels like you're doing something. Feels like you're really committing to something. This looks fine, honestly. Maybe I shouldn't buy it, but anyways. So yeah. This is my, my attempt to see if this can be art. Can it? I don't know. What the hell is art these days? Anyways, so yeah. Also, I've got like a list of weird topics that I'm reading from. I have one that's self-hatred is another form of narcissism, and yeah, I do think that is true. I asked ChatGPT yesterday. I was like, hey, so what's like? I think I need a perspective, right? Like, what's my voice? What's my perspective? I was like John Mulaney, sort of like nerdy, anxious, but very successful, smart. Like you imagine a John Mulaney bit, you can imagine it. Rodney Chang is like very focused on money, annoyed, angry really easily. And I was like, what's my perspective? And he's like, what do you get mad at? ChatGPT said this sort of generally, like what can you just riff on? What do you get the most angry at? And the thing is like the thing I get the most angry about is Canadian politics and myself. Canadian politics, because it's so frustrating. And the thing is, like, I'm not a politics guy. For like every few months I'll be like, maybe I'm gonna be a politics guy, maybe I should really get into Canadian politics, but I just don't think that's my path, because first of all, very small niche, and also even that niche, Canadian politics, is like I don't fit anywhere inside of it, because I hate the Liberals, but I also hate like right wingers, and I'd be talking about like 4 people. I don't even think I've ever met someone who shares my political views at all, because most people just don't really care about Canadian politics. They're not interested. They don't look into it. And basically my thing is just like, I just get so frustrated with how there's essentially like, people are propagandized by the internet. I think it's pretty well documented that the elites or whatever are trying to control us through social media. But the Liberals have just done such a good job as portraying like the current political landscape as either you're with us or you're with Donald Trump, which is so insane, and people are buying it. I've talked to a lot of people who are buying it. And then even, when you look at like Alberta separatism, it's like, oh, that's portrayed as Trump, and not separatist is not Trump. And the whole separatist thing is weird, because like so many people are so angry about it. They'll frame it as like, oh, these people are all dumb. But then Quebec, and I'm not saying I'm a separatist. I honestly don't care about anything anymore. Life is stupid. Like, politics are dumb. But Quebec, just last night, they voted for a separatist politician. They had a by-election, separatist politician won. And it's just very weird, where it's like Quebec sort of gets away with everything that people accuse Alberta of. Like, if Alberta was to pass any of the legislation against like the Quebec has passed in the last 5 years, like Quebec has made it elite, like they banned religious symbols, which just seemed like a pretty obvious way, maybe like they're trying to stop Catholics from wearing rosaries or whatever the hell, but it just seemed like an obvious way to like discriminate against Muslims. And they've been very open that they don't want immigration from certain groups of people, and they're constantly trying to separate. And like they have a separatist party, but people always say that Alberta is the racist one, the racist province, and it's just not true. It's not true at all, because racist people live everywhere. Racism knows no bounds. When I was living in BC, met tons of racist people there, and it's just people in the cities. It's because like Canada just so easily gets our politics imprinted on us from the States. And so people in Vancouver think they're LA, people in Toronto think they're New York, and then they think Alberta is the Midwest. But it's really not like that. The thing with all politics now is it's more rural versus urban, and then even within that, there's like distinctions. But so yeah, I just get so angry with how manipulated people are easily into thinking, like, because I'm left-wing, I'm very left-wing, listen to Chapo Trap House and, True and On and all this stuff, and don't think that the market can really solve all our problems. But the liberals are just so corrupt in this country, and I don't think people really understand. And also, we've outlawed news in the country, and we pay for news. We give $600 million to journalist companies when we really should have just let them go under. But then you're not allowed to post news on social media, so everyone is very sort of easily propagandized in this country. You're not, like, just the fact you're not allowed to share news on social media, which it seems like, obviously, it was the liberal government being like, no, you have to pay, and then the company said, Google said, no, we won't pay. And then they're like, okay, well, no more news then, which is, I don't know. It's just, it bothers me. But again, who cares? I'm not smart. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But then, yeah, the other thing I get angry at easily is myself. I get so angry at myself, dude, all the time. I'm like, what is your problem? Why can't you figure this out? Why aren't you more ahead in life? Why are you so lazy? Like, why did you drink caffeine today? I told you I was trying to quit caffeine. Just had 2 large Red Bulls. Didn't even really need it that much. Normally I'll wake up and I'll be like craving caffeine, but I slept so much last night. And then I went for a walk, took Dave for my daily walk. And I got 2, actually, I was like, you know what? They're 2 for $9 or $5.99 each. Again, things are getting insane price in Canada. And so I bought 1, and I was like, well, it's cheaper basically to buy 2. And so I bought 2, drank them both. Whatever. Don't like that about myself. But yeah, so I get upset with my brain, upset with like not being able to make choices, not being able to follow through with stuff. And so this is actually helpful, I've been thinking a lot about AA recently. I don't know, you're not supposed to talk about AA. Well, I don't go, so it's fine. I'm not really a member. But sometimes I'm like, you know what? Is this podcast just an attempt to avoid dealing with other people? And listen, my problem with AA is just like, I can't join a group. I'm just so bad at groups. I just don't like groups. I don't like being told what to do. I don't like being told what to think. And I know that so many people say like, first of all, if you're struggling with alcoholism, go to AA. I would never discourage anyone from going to AA. I think you all should. Every time I relapse, which is way too frequently, I always go, and it always makes me feel so much better. It's just I can never really commit. And, and every time I go, I relapse and I go, I'm like, obviously this is where I need to be. This is what I need to be doing with my life. But then about a week goes by and I'm like, I would rather not do this. I would rather make a podcast, and then I don't commit to that. So this is me trying to commit to something. So hopefully someone gets something out of this. Who knows? So I get very angry with myself very often. And a lot of times it's like being angry at myself. I've been trying to meditate a lot. I haven't been meditating recently. I haven't done it like once in the last week. Again, social media just ruined my week, threw off all my routines. And the other thing I got met is put on like 5 pounds in the last week. And I'm pretty sure like the way that how different my face looks from 155 to 160, it could be studied. I'm pretty sure all 5 pounds go directly to my face. Because it's I hate my face right now. It is it feels so fat. It's the worst. Don't like looking at it. And and I was thinking about this, about how self-hatred is just another form of narcissism. Because if you like peel back the layers, it's like self-hatred's like, oh, you're such a you're such a piece of shit or whatever. Screw you. But then underneath that is like, well, you should be like, why are you such a fuck up? You should be doing so much better. And so it's like, you should be doing so much better. So it's like, oh, you're better than this. You're better than the person you are, you know? And it's like, but you're not, you know? But again, that's like, that self-hatred has to be around like, oh, you can be better than this, but you're screwing it up because you're a loser. But underneath that is like, oh, well, actually, you're so much better than this, right? You know what I'm saying? I don't think I can go into it much more without just repeating myself. Yeah. Anyways, I made some delicious bear stir fry that my sister shot and killed last night, and have to own up that when she posted a photo of her with the dead bear, I judged her. I was like, oh, how could you kill such a beautiful creature? And, you know, it was a beautiful creature. But then I ate it, so I did eat it. You know? She killed it, I ate it. So who's the bad person? You know? There's just something, and I think it's like a natural, understandable instinct for all people to be like, oh, you shouldn't kill something beautiful. But, you know, there's a lot of bears. They're not endangered, and if we don't kill them, then they kill too much other wildlife and becomes a problem. You know, I tend to agree with Joe Rogan when it comes to hunting or whatever. It's conservation or whatever. I don't think, you know, unless you're like one of these sick fucks who like goes to pay to like kill a lion, then screw you. Then screw you, 100%. Screw you. But just hunting stuff that needs to be hunted. Obviously, I'm eating meat. You know, I feel bad about it a lot of time, but I do eat it, so whatever. And, yeah. So I think I covered everything that I wanted to cover today. Oh, yeah, I've got a show coming up in Winnipeg, if anyone happens to be in Winnipeg and is listening to this. The last time I was in Winnipeg was for Winnipeg Comedy Fest, and I did the club I'm going to be doing there at the basement. And after my set, I was really high. I was really high at basically all of Winnipeg Comedy Fest, except for when I was doing shows. I would immediately get high after because I really wanted to drink. And getting high, it makes you feel terrible enough that you can't even think about drinking. Obviously, of course, the urge to drink did not go away. That I don't know if that will ever go away, but. After my set, these two really cute girls who looked like 22 or something, they came out and they're like, oh my God, you were so funny. And to me and this other guy who had just done a set, they're like, we think you're awesome. And you're like, and we sort of froze. And I could tell the guy was like, also like me, like a comedian, cause he's not social superstar. And they were like, we're going to flash you. And I was like, I was so high and I didn't know what to say, and I immediately went inside my head and I was like, oh my God. And then I was like, you should have. Like I sort of was like, you should have. But like I didn't say it loud or confident enough. I could tell they kind of heard, but not really. And it was just like, oh man, it was bad. And then our cab was coming. We had called an Uber and it came. We were waiting for it. And they're trying to joke around with us, but we had no ability to riff. Neither me or this guy. I don't know if he was high, but I was super high and stuck in a no riff zone. And it was terrible. It was terrible. And then we got in the Uber, and then hopefully we were going to drive away. But then the Uber, there was another Uber in front of us, and it was parked in this one area, so we couldn't move forward. So then we were just in the car next to these girls who had just hit on us, like been so down to like hang out. We could have invited them to the hotel or whatever. And the window, I was in the back seat and the window would only roll down, like it was rolled down a little bit, but I thought the window lock was on and so it wouldn't roll down. So I was just like staring at them like a child through the back part of the window as we were staying there. And then they said, they're like, you guys aren't very funny off stage. And I was high and, when I'm high, it's like something like that is so embarrassing, but I kind of got over it relatively quickly in the moment because everything feels so weird and embarrassing that when you're high. But it was rough, and I'm still not over it to this day. So if you're one of those girls in Winnipeg, listen to this, come to the show. And probably the same thing will happen again because I am not good in person after a show. While you're on stage, you have to sort of repress every awkward instinct you have in your body. And then as soon as I'm off stage, those all come out. And then I feel so weird. And, I wish there was one of these cool guys who's just like, like, pow, let's get it, but I'm not. Okay, and so I'm almost done here. I just wanted to... This is why I don't follow the news anymore. I was like, I was getting ready for this podcast and thinking like, oh, what could I talk about? So I went to Twitter and checked trending topics. One of them was Candace Owens. So here's one guy, Graham Allen, at Graham Allen. And he says, this is just the first 3 posts when you click on Candace Owens trending. Graham Allen says, I'm coming for everyone responsible for Candace Owens' demonic attacks against Erica Kirk and her children, her husband, her team, her donors, and even her sponsors. You are all to blame. To the, quote, friends of Charlie, unquote, who refused to speak, I am coming for you as well. And this guy, he has got a thing on the back that says, The Graham Allen Show. He seems schizophrenic, but I guarantee you, this is like a pretty common... I have no idea what he's talking about, but probably a lot of people do and really agree with him or think he's a demon. The world has gone insane. Schizophrenia just seems to be like sort of the default now. Like things that, if you were to say online even 15 years ago, people would be like, oh, I guess this guy's completely lost his mind. Now those are mainstream opinions. And what is the mainstream? I mean, this is trending. This is a trending topic. I don't know what the hell they're talking about. I guess Erica Kirk is a demon or Candace Owens is a demon. Here's the next one by Jeremy Boring. I don't know Erica Kirk. I do know Candace Owens. Erica met the moment of her husband's assassination with a grace unimaginable. Candace met the moment of her so-called friend's assassination as she meets every moment, focused on herself and her insatiable hunger for fame and aggrandizement. If you find yourself believing the latter in her smears of the former, please know you are being manipulated by one of the best in the business, but you're still wrong and in the wrong. May God open your eyes to the evil you are participating, and may God bless Erica Kirk. Again, okay, so he's criticizing, again, this is weird commentary because I don't know what the hell they're talking about. I guess Candace Owens is spreading lies about Erica Kirk, which, good. Who cares about Erica Kirk and Charlie Kirk? When Charlie Kirk was assassinated, killed, or whatever, I was sort of like, oh no, this seems bad. And again, it does seem bad. I don't think it's good that we're murdering people for views or whatever. What was he killed by? I'm not going to say it so I don't get whatever. If this ever gets monetized, I don't want to get demonetized. But was he killed by a certain state? Who knows? Is that what Candace Owens is talking about? Who knows? Is she making up something? But it's just like these people are all freaks. They're all insane. So I'm kind of on Candace Owens' side because this guy's like, Candace Owens is trying to self-aggrandize. All right, what are you doing, you loser? You also have a podcast that looks like it's called Trigger Optometry. I don't know. The clock is in front of it. Let's click Jeremy Boring's here. Oh, okay, yeah, co-founder of Real Daily Wire. So screw this guy. I mean, if you listen to Daily Wire, fine. I don't give a fuck. But and then Kevin Smith. So this is the third post. This is really what Candace Owens' documentary is about, and it says it's a picture of Candace Owens wearing a crown, and it says, I should have been Bride of Charlie, an investigative series. Now, I'm assuming this was made by IAI, because I should have been Bride of Charlie. I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be I should have been the Bride of Charlie, but whatever. And this is why I don't care about politics. Or, like, it's not that I don't care. Like, I do care. I see what's happening in the world. It seems bad, obviously, But I just can't get upset with anyone for thinking what they're thinking, because this is all just blatant schizophrenia. Like, who cares? Who cares what Candace Owens is? And the thing is, it used to be in the 70s. Everyone was sort of watched the same news. There was... People had a general consensus of what was going on in the world, and then you had different opinions on it. Now, the media landscape is so fractured. No one listens to traditional news anymore because, I don't think you should. They're obviously lying about everything. But then just even within that, the media landscape is so fractured, and there's so many different takes and so many, why would anyone be right about anything? That's my take on it. It's like, if you're right wing or left wing or socialist, communist, whatever, why, like, how can anyone be blamed for their worldview? When we're all just constantly under psychic bombardment by, corporations, podcasters, a million different people all trying to tell you the truth. And obviously the government's lying to us about so much stuff. And then you go, okay, well, the government's lying. Maybe Joe Rogan's telling the truth. And I think Joe Rogan believes he's telling the truth most of the time, but I don't think he necessarily has all the facts about stuff. But there is an authenticity there. And I think that's what people respond to now, is authenticity. But being authentic and telling you, being honest about what you think is the truth doesn't mean you actually know the truth, And I think that's because I think people are sort of intuitively good at knowing when someone is being authentic and knowing when someone is being inauthentic, right? And I think that's why people don't trust politicians and they do trust podcasters. And that's not necessarily a wrong instinct, but podcasters and comedians, they don't know shit either. Why would they know stuff, And then you have experts or researchers, and it's like that anyone can be wrong or right about anything at any time. It's very hard to know what's going on in the world these days. And so we don't have, like, humans in general, we don't have a good mechanism for knowing what's true, for knowing what's real. Right now, it's a very chaotic, disjointed time, and I think that's probably partially intentional by the people who are trying to divvy up the world and get us onto a new world order, which they're even saying that at the WEF. That's the thing, I've been into conspiracy theories for a very long time, and now so much of the stuff, the conspiracy stuff, is just like they're just open about it now. Obviously, the Epstein thing was huge, that these people are sort of controlling the world in a weird way, where it is this small cabal of people, and it's just like, I don't know how that was so controversial. And I think it's because people want to believe the official narrative that, oh no, there's systems in place. And it's like, yeah, well, those systems are done by people, and people can manipulate people. And like, the ultra rich, I don't think they look at themselves as the same species as us. They don't care. It's the same way that we sort of are dismissive towards homeless people, where it's like, oh yeah, that's terrible, but what are you going to do? I think that's how the ultra rich look at the majority of people. It's like, oh, our lives seem so terrible to them that they can't even relate to it, and they don't want to relate to us. And so if a few million people have to die for them to get a little bit richer, they don't really care about that, And so that's my take. Anyways, this was, I was trying to do 20 minutes every day. I got to 32 without too much self-hatred. So if anyone is listening to this, hopefully you are, and you're also trying to get better at something, hit me up on social media. I check all my message requests. A lot of times they're from angry people who didn't like something I said on social media, and I just delete them. But if you're a fan, always reach out. Would love, and we can talk about stuff. Anyways, peace. Love you guys.